Have you ever looked at the vastness of the universe, the stars, the mountains, the changing seasons, and wondered if there is a singular purpose behind it all? For over 1 billion people around the world, the answers to these existential questions are found within one book, the Quran. But beyond the recitation and the rituals, what is the actual message? What is the heartbeat of this scripture? Today, we aren't just quoting verses, we are stepping back to look at the big picture. We're going to uncover the major themes that form the pillars of the Quranic worldview, from the nature of God to the ultimate destiny of humanity. Join us as we explore the major themes of the Quran. The context of guidance. To understand the themes of the Quran, we first have to understand what the Quran claims to be. It does not present itself merely as a history book, though it contains history. It is not just a book of law, though it contains laws. The Quran describes itself primarily as huda, guidance. It is a roadmap for the human being. When you read through its 114 chapters, or surahs, you realize that it doesn't always follow a linear chronological order like a biography. Instead, it circles back to specific core ideas, repeating them, refining them, and presenting them from different angles. It's like a teacher ensuring the student truly grasps the lesson. So what are these lessons? Scholars have categorized them in many ways, but today we will look at the 5 most dominant themes that appear from the first page to the last. Tawhid, the oneness of God. The first and arguably the most important theme of the entire Quran is Tawhid. This is the absolute, uncompromising oneness of God. If you were to summarize the Quran in a single sentence, it would be, there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. The Quran spends a significant amount of time correcting humanity's perception of the divine. It argues that the Creator cannot be like the creation. He has no partners, no children, no parents, and no equals. In Surah Al-Ikhlas, which is considered 1/3 of the Quran in terms of weight, this theme is crystallized. Say, He is Allah, who is one, Allah, the eternal refuge. He neither begets nor is born, nor is there to him any equivalent. This theme isn't just theological, it's practical. The Quran teaches that because there is only one creator, there is only one source of morality, one source of purpose, and one ultimate judge. It liberates the human being from enslavement to false idols, whether those idols are statues, money, power, or our own egos. The Quran constantly asks the reader to reflect. Look at the synchronization of the sun and the moon. Look at the balance of nature. Could this be the work of many chaotic gods, or is it the handiwork of one all-powerful administrator? Risalah, prophethood, and guidance. If there is one God who created us with a purpose, how are we supposed to know what that purpose is? This leads us to the second major theme, Risalah, or prophethood. The Quran establishes that God is not distant or silent. Throughout history, He has communicated with humanity through chosen individuals, prophets, and messengers. The Quran mentions that every nation was sent a guide. From Adam to Noah, Abraham to Moses, Jesus to Muhammad, peace be upon them all, the message has always been the same: worship one God and be righteous. The Quran places an emphasis on the continuity of this message. It tells the stories of previous prophets not just as fables, but as psychological and spiritual lessons. We see the patience of Noah, the sacrifices of Abraham, the strength of Moses, and the compassion of Jesus. These stories serve as a comfort to the Prophet Muhammad and to the believers, showing that truth often faces resistance, but ultimately truth prevails. This theme teaches us that human reason alone isn't enough to find the ultimate truth. We need divine revelation. The Quran positions itself as the final link in this chain of revelation, confirming the truth that came before it and correcting the alterations that crept into previous scriptures over time. Akhirah, the afterlife and accountability. Perhaps the most striking and emotional theme in the Quran is Akhirah, the afterlife. You cannot read more than a few pages of the Quran without encountering a vivid reminder that this life is temporary and the next life is eternal. The Quran presents a very clear logic. If there is a God who is just, then there must be a day of judgment. We look around the world today and see criminals who live in luxury and die peacefully, and we see righteous people who suffer and die in poverty. If this world is the only reality, then that is an injustice. The Quran promises that the scales will be balanced. The descriptions of the Day of Judgment in the Quran are powerful and shaking. It speaks of a day when a man will flee from his brother and his mother and his father. It is a day of absolute individual accountability. No one can carry the burden of another. This theme serves as the ultimate moral compass. A person who believes they will stand before God and answer for every word spoken and every dollar earned lives their life differently than someone who thinks death is the end. The Quran balances fear and hope here, warning of the punishment for arrogance and tyranny, while offering beautiful sensory descriptions of paradise or Jannah for those who believed and did good works. The natural world and reflection. A theme that is often overlooked but is everywhere in the Quran is the invitation to reflect on the natural world. The Quran calls the phenomena of nature ayat, which means signs. Interestingly, the verses of the Quran are also called ayat. This implies that the written revelation, the book, and the created revelation, the universe, are mirrored reflections of the same truth. The Quran constantly challenges the intellect. Do they not look at the camels, how they are created, and at the sky, how it is raised? It points to the cycle of rain, reviving dead land as a metaphor for the resurrection. It speaks of the embryological development of the human being in the womb. It mentions the orbits of the planets and the barriers between seas. This theme destroys the idea that faith is blind. In the Quranic worldview, faith is a result of observation and reflection. Science and spirituality are not enemies. The study of creation is an act of worship because it leads you to the grandeur of the Creator. It encourages human beings to be observers, thinkers, and people of intellect. Finally, we move to the theme of how we treat one another. The Quran is not a book for monks living in caves. It is a book for people living in society. A massive portion of the Quran is dedicated to social justice and morality. The Quran is incredibly protective of the weak. It frequently mentions the rights of the orphan, the widow, the traveler, and the poor. It condemns the hoarding of wealth and the abuse of power. It established rights for women in an era where they had none, giving them rights to inheritance, property, and marriage. It forbids interest or usury because it exploits the needy. It mandates zakat, or charity, to purify one's wealth. It commands justice even if it goes against your own self or your kin. O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives. This theme emphasizes that you cannot have a good relationship with God if you have a bad relationship with His creation. Prayer and fasting are empty if you are a tyrant to your family or a cheater in your business. The Quran aims to build a community that is balanced, just, and compassionate. To summarize, the Quran is a vast ocean of knowledge, but its currents flow in these specific directions. It calls humanity to recognize the oneness of God, Tawhid, to follow the guidance of the prophets, Risalah, to live with the awareness of the afterlife, Akhirah, to reflect on the signs in the universe, and to establish justice and mercy on earth. Understanding these themes transforms the Quran from a simple book on the shelf to a dynamic guide for life. It invites the reader not just to recite, but to think, to change, and to grow. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the major themes of the Quran. If you found this explanation helpful, please like the video and subscribe to Quranarpaki for more content that uncovers the beauty of Islamic history and spirituality. Let us know in the comments which of these themes resonates with you the most. Until next time, peace be upon you.